Hi there, Accelerators Organization. Thanks for joining me for this mentor session. My name is Joel Gandara, and we've got a lot of great questions here today. Well, first of all, let me explain. Love Street is a brand that is part of our group of businesses. It's called shoplovestreet.com, and I happen to be in their area here. Back there behind me, right about, where is that? Right there is the entrance, one of the entrances to our fulfillment center. That's something that we do. We do fulfillment for e-commerce websites. So that's where I'm at today. I had to meet someone here this morning. I don't come in every day, but I had to meet someone, and I had this mentor session scheduled. So that's why I'm here. And if ever anybody here has any questions about e-commerce fulfillment, I know a thing or two about that. So I'd be happy to talk to you about it. And today we have a lot of questions and really good ones. And I will touch on them, and if anybody has any further questions, wants to go a little bit deeper on that, I'd be happy to talk to you about it one-on-one. First one is from my friend Shelly Merrill, and the question is, what is the importance and how do I go about building a dashboard to track important numbers? Business description and background: fire protection contractor. I've heard many successful business people say build a tracking dashboard to track key elements. My question is, how? What is the best way to pull information from multiple databases? Is there software for that? Excel spreadsheets? Can it be automated, or is it done manually? Curious to hear all the mentors' ideas. So Shelly, I'll start off by answering this part of it, that what is the importance? Well, the importance is that if you're on a deserted island and you're all by yourself and other people are running the business, and maybe, I don't know, you can send a message in a bottle that'll get to them in a month, once a month, what would you like to know about what's going on in the business, right? You don't need to hear all kinds of problems and this and that and have meetings. I don't have too many meetings, and when I do, they're usually stand-up meetings because I want the information out fast. But what I would like is a piece of paper, or better yet, something on my phone, a dashboard that just tells me all the main things. What are our sales in your case? Maybe sales. Maybe it's who's late by 90 days or 60 days or 30 days, whatever is important to you. How many visits each of your licensed folks are doing going out to sites, whatever those numbers are. First of all, I would find out what are those numbers, and let's say it's 8. Maybe there's 8 key points that if you always knew that, you can make better decisions. So I'd figure that out. Forget software, forget all of that. Start with the basics. Put an Excel spreadsheet together and just say, man, if we could just have a meeting, a 10-minute meeting where I could be given this once a week, I would be able to know what's going on and make the best decisions possible. So I do believe this is super important. That's part of what you asked. What's the importance of it? I'll tell you how we do it in my businesses. On my phone at any time, I could pull up a dashboard for my fulfillment center. I know how many orders need to be picked. I know how many pickers are working. I can see all their performances. I know which ones are currently picking a cart of orders. I know what time they started it. I know how many carts they finished that day, and their speeds, picks per minute per cart. So those are things that we've decided are important. I can also see the sales. I can see the gross sale, the cost of goods sold, the shipping revenue, shipping expense, sales tax collected, net profit, all that. I can see it all in one quick glance. And I don't look at that once a week. I glance at that multiple times a day just to see if everything's on track. If anything's kind of odd, that might be a red flag. My team will catch it before I do, but at least I know it's there and I can ask a question about it if I need to. Regarding the other part about going further and databases and software and Excel spreadsheets, there probably is all kinds of stuff. I wouldn't start there though. I would start just by figuring out what you need. Hopefully you don't have to pull all these numbers every week, let's say, and do it manually, but if you have to, it's probably still worth it. If you can have one person responsible on Monday or Thursdays by 3 p.m., they have to pull the data and plug it into an Excel or a Google Sheet that everybody shares, and you can all start seeing it. That's fantastic. I like putting this around a weekly meeting, like a weekly huddle, a level 10 meeting, like an EOS traction. It does that. And that's where you would need that data to be, so you can see it in one place for your meeting. I hope that helps. But remember, you know me, I always stick to basics. I would start with a piece of paper and just putting it there and then evolve from there. Otherwise, it becomes this overwhelming project. And overwhelming projects often don't get done. All right, next question is from Joshua Grant. How do I need to go about setting up a system to hire and develop new team members. I am a welding and fabrication business. We specialize in handrails, but have been getting a lot of other custom shop work. I have 2 other people on the team, and the workload is starting to overwhelm us. Where I live, it is getting difficult to find skilled workers. I am more than willing to teach the people that want to be part of my team. I just want to do it in a way that is confident. Okay, so Joshua, I don't know where the hiccups are right now in your hiring process. And regarding the part about finding skilled labor being difficult in your area, I think it's difficult right now in every area. This is a tough market to hire in and find talent. So that, just know you're competing on an even playing field in there. Unless you're in the middle of nowhere, then that really is difficult to find people. So I would look to see what's wrong with your hiring system today. I would lay that out. I would write that down. I would say, okay, we put an ad, we bring them in, we train them this way, we get them up to speed. Write down your process and show that to a few people, and then tell them what the pain points are. Here's why we're hurting, right? So this is a tough question to ask because there's so many things we could go, so many directions we can go. It's hard to answer here, but it's a great question. But I would start with that. Lay out your hiring process. What are those steps that you take? And show it to a few people who have good experience in that. You can do it here in Accelerators organization. You're probably going to get good results. So start with that, and then reach out to everybody you know and say, here's how my hiring process looks. And a lot of the times, I really believe, Joshua, we all have it in us. You might get tips and some good advice here and there, but you probably know where your problems are, and you probably know it better than anyone. Now, when you share those and say, here's where I'm at, here's where I'd like to be, you're probably going to start realizing, here's the disconnect, here's what I'm missing. Share that with somebody, and they're going to be able to say, well, why don't you try this, or have you considered this other thing? And that might get you in the right direction. All right, next question is from Jenny Dawson. How do I plan ahead to be sure to not fall into the trap of having a full-time job within my business long term? And this is a long explanation. I read it earlier, but I'm going to sum it up. It appears that Jenny is a Zen soul, balance. She is a niche yoga teacher and specializing in yin and sound meditation. And here's something I thought it was interesting to mention. She writes, it is important that I, Jenny Dawson, as the teacher, lays the foundation of these programs within each organization while simultaneously building the community and growing class attendance. So the question really becomes, how do I not dive into this thing where it's going to consume me and I'm going to be here 60 hours a week, and how can I grow a business if it's all about me being in it? I think this is super important. I actually coach a couple of doctors and who have practices where they're the main thing. People want to see them, and it's sometimes because they've built it that way. But I've seen them successfully transition away from it's all about their show and them, and now they can employ multiple doctors in each of their clinics and still actually really grow the business because they're not stuck seeing patients. And sure, that might, or in this case, clients, that might be your true passion, but it's very difficult to do both things. I don't think you could be all day or all mornings and then evenings, however your classes are in yoga, teaching them and then getting out in the community, recruiting, growing, spreading the word. You got to figure out which one are you best at and which is your talent better and your time better used. So in the beginning, we often are everything. We're the entrepreneur, the salesperson, the accountant. We have to do everything in the beginning oftentimes if we're not well funded. And I was never well funded, so I had to start by I was the janitor, I was the everything for years. And then I started realizing, you know what? My time is not best used cleaning the toilets and taking out the garbage and doing all of these things. Sure, I can do it, but is that my best time? Maybe I can spend those 10 minutes a day making an extra sales call that might get me an extra $50,000 in revenue a couple times a year just from those calls. And it does. That's usually how it works. So my recommendation is to find what you're best at. Are you the person to grow that business, or are you the person to sit and do the classes? My guess is that you could train people to do the classes, and you could be out there as the face, as the voice of the business. You could be the coach to those trainers so that they could be working while you're out there growing the business. Or guess what? Or they could be working while you're out there enjoying life. You're putting the capital, you're doing all the work, you're investing a lot. This is kind of how you would hopefully if you want to, evolve it that way, where the business can grow without your physical presence there all the time. And that's when you know you've built a good business. What I've done in the past, it's funny because someone just left here. I met someone here, and that's why I'm here today. We talked about that, and what I told them, they asked me how they can get to a level where they're not working all the time. And I told them what I did was I set goals for myself. I'd say, like, you know what, every Wednesday I want to leave at noon. And that was unheard of in my mind. I worked 12-hour days or more every single day. So I thought, how could I do that? But it would be kind of cool, right? To know that I could control my future. By the way, this is why we create businesses. This is why most of you aren't just a 9-to-5 person. It's so that you can run your own life. It's not to work all day, I hope. So I set that goal, and then I started doing it. And then I said, I wonder if I could start taking Fridays off. And every Friday I want to go to the beach. And I started doing that. And then little by little, I started finding ways and putting people in the right place so that I could do those things. Because I believe we will burn out if we keep up 12-hour days for many years. I did it maybe for 15 years or so. It's not a long-term strategy that I find successful. Next question is from Ricardo Delgado. What things can I do to continue to develop as a leader so my team follows our processes and I get the buy-in from them so we can grow and add more people? I own a barbershop and my systems are not the smoothest. I have 2 barbers and me, and one of them isn't using the online platform we provide. I want everyone to be on the same page. I admit I made the mistake by hiring anyone and allowing direct numbers to customers, but now I see this isn't working. I'm still hiring, and I need to follow the same system straightforward with everyone. I need help knowing how to set things up so I start people the same way and train them the same way. Ricardo, this is simple. It's all in your hands. It's what you say goes. Now, if anybody has any better suggestions that could be implemented on a macro level for everyone, then great. We'll consider those and we'll go with those and we'll appreciate that idea. But this is your business. Run it the way that you believe it should be run. It seems to me that maybe, and I don't know, maybe it's a tough labor market. I don't know what it is, but it sounds like you're caving in and allowing people to run things the way they want to run them. This is your business, and I think you know what's best. So I would sit down, not while you're cutting hair, not while customers are there, not while anyone else is there, but I would sit down one-on-one with that person and have that tough conversation. On the other side, I say this all the time, on the other side of difficult conversations, I have always found tremendous benefits. You can't just let things slide, and it's almost like a victim mentality. I don't know, nobody's doing what I say. Well, then you make them do what you say. How do you do that? Not by yelling at them or being mean, by talking to them, seeing why they're not implementing it, and maybe they just are hung up on this one thing, and you can coach them through that. But that's up to you. I think you have to take that ownership of the situation. Otherwise, this is how it starts. You got one doing his own thing, and now it's a rotten apple in a bunch of apples who tells the other one, no, I don't do that. You do that? No, that's what Ricardo says to do. But yeah, he's dumb. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's not the kind of business you want, so you have to set it straight. You have to sell them on it and make them understand why you're doing certain things. And I see a postal van pulling up, so you may hear some noise here and hear some walking around. Sorry, I'm in an actual fulfillment center, so there's going to be movement behind me. All right, next question comes from Darby Scott. When you have a fleet of vehicles, should you aim to keep all vehicles out in the field every day, or keep one as a backup in case maintenance is required? You know, when I first read this question, and he goes on to explain, or Darby goes on to explain, and then I'll tell you my thought. We have a fleet of mobile pet grooming vans. There are 3 out of 6 days in which all of our vans are on the road, and we are considering having all vans on the road all 6 days. We're closed on Sundays, which is the basic maintenance day for small things like oil changes and quick repairs by our in-house mechanic. Bigger mechanical fixes require taking vans to a shop, which are always closed on Sundays. My concern is that if we never have a van off the road and something comes up that requires a week or more of repairs, which actually happens every quarter to at least 3 of our vans, we'll have to pull employees from their regular schedules, which affect their pay and recurring client schedules. The domino effect would be that clients become upset because scheduling is difficult with full vehicles, and then we may lose those clients as well as employees who have had their schedules cut. I also understand that vehicle not being used is a vehicle not bringing in money, but the former seems to be more harmful of a loss than the latter, in my opinion. When I first read this, Darby, I thought, no, keep every van working, right? It's putting every asset to make money for you. But then I disagreed with myself as I gave it more thought and as I read more into your question. Yeah, if one of your vans is out, it disrupts the entire schedule. And then the most important thing about that, other than upsetting your own employees who now are all messed up, is that your customers are going to be upset. And this is about their pets, and that's like children to them, and this is super important. So you don't want to disrupt that. So yeah, I believe you probably, and you could do the math on this, you could calculate, well, if we have another van that's X amount of more assets and capital tied into that, and then what's the loss when that van breaks down? But if this is happening multiple times, my guess is that the math, because that's how I would calculate it, the math is probably going to go in the favor of keeping a van available and having that option. So it gives you another couple days while the other van gets repaired. And I would pose this question not just here, but also in the group, because I know there are some dog groomers, including my friend Heather, who's a member of Accelerator organization, who could probably give some insight on that. She has a phenomenal business in Texas, and I know has experience exactly with this. It's a mobile business. But yeah, so again, I just want to emphasize this. Whether it's a van, whether it's another property, whether it's equipment, this is a math computation. You can say, the van will cost me $20,000. So there's $20,000, but so what will that resolve for me? What will that solve? Well, we lost these clients last time. We disrupted our day. We lost revenue because we had to cancel some visits. And that adds up over how much a year? And then now you can say, okay, we either invest $20,000 one time or lose $10,000 a year. Does that math make sense? The $20,000 will pay itself off in 2 years, and you can go from there. Next question is from Robin Turpin. Hey, Robin. Would you agree that being in great physical shape makes a big difference for business success? Art for calm. I'm an artist. That's what she does. All right, Robin, you are asking the choir here, because I couldn't agree with that anymore. Being in great physical shape makes you peak performance physically, which then carries on to your brain, because that is physical. It's part of your brain. It's part of your body, the brain is. So I couldn't agree any more than that. When you are, Rosalie just pointed something out which I wasn't aware because I didn't see that on there. The question asked by Darby, the pet groomer, she works with Heather. Thanks for pointing that out, Rosalie, on the comments here on the live. I did not know that. Well, either way, I think I gave my opinion there, but good to know that. All right, so Robin, yes, tell me how you do anything, and I'll tell you how you do everything. I find it very weird that someone will be a slouch and just sit in a desk all day and eating potato chips and drinking soda and destroying their body, and then crushing it in the rest of their life, in personal relationships, in friends and connections, in learning, in business. There are exceptions to that rule, I'm sure, but I don't want to be one of those. I want to be in the best physical shape of my life, taking care of myself, because then I get endorphins, which make me feel good, which make me think positively, and that helps me make better decisions. And I've witnessed this in my life. When I was struggling and working really hard and maybe cranking out $50,000 income in my initial business when it was first starting, I let myself go because I was working 12 to 16 hours every day. And man, I wasn't sleeping well. So think about that. If you're not sleeping well, is your brain going to be optimal? When you wear yourself out and you work out and you're hopefully enjoying it, find sports and workouts that you enjoy, you're going to sleep better, look better, feel more confident. And I'm sure anyone here, Sean Thomas included, who has gotten himself in great shape over the last year or so, will tell you that they feel phenomenal, they're performing better, they're showing up to everything better. I'd rather be on that side. If I'm wrong, it's fine, because I've seen it work for me that way. Next question is from Alana, no last name given. During COVID, a lot of new players have entered the online beauty industry, and with that being said, they have price cut like crazy. Any ideas on how to navigate the new playing field and still make a profit? I've had to follow suit and lower prices for now to get enrollments. How should I best compete with lots of competition? Sorry, as I pick up my phone here. All right, so a lot of industries during COVID, when people are at home, they've jumped into whatever they're interested in. Women's apparel, makeup. A lot of people have been with a lot of time on their hands and saying, well, I've always wanted to start a business doing X. So now you have a lot of competition. The good thing is that most people, I mean, the good thing for you is that most people who try their hand at business fail within the first year. So a lot of those are probably going to wash themselves out. You just need to stand out for a year or two and put up with it, right? The other thing is, and I'm not a very good consumer. I don't spend a lot of money on myself. I don't buy much stuff. But I will tell you this, and I always want to pay the least amount possible. I'm pretty cheap like that. However, there are exceptions to that. And sometimes these are, I don't know, $4,000 quote differences, and I'll go with the higher one. And the reason is it's perceived value. I think I'm going to get better results if I go with this company as opposed to this other one, which was much less expensive. And the reason for that is because I don't want to take a risk on paying for something cheap if there's so much value in the higher one. So my suggestion to you, whatever your product, whatever your service, whatever you're doing, and I think yours is like teaching beauty courses and certifying beautician, it sounds like, because of your email, cosmopolitanacademy.com. I think you need to provide tremendous value where it's a no-brainer. You see, you're positioned like this and so valuable, so great, and the rest, yes, they're cheaper, but here's what you're going to get. And maybe that's how your marketing and your voice comes through, so that you're convincing people. Almost, I don't want to sound weird, but you're almost scaring people that, oh, do I really want to trust those other ones? And I don't know if you want to talk about competition, but you can say, here's what you can expect with us, and the results sell themselves. I hope that helps, Alana. All right, next question is from David Monge, M-O-N-G-E. How do I instill good work ethics in my team? I have a team member that leaves at 5 p.m. and always does the bare minimum. I hired my first team member about 9 months ago. She mainly helps with clerical activities, setting appointments, and with follow-up calls. She's smart, and I know she has potential, but she does the bare minimum and always leaves at 5 on the dot. I don't know why that bothers me. Well, first of all, I know why that bothers you, because you want more performance out of every single person. I think that's super fair, and you want everybody to work at their peak. First of all, it's rewarding for that person. Do you think that the person who does the bare minimum is happy in their life? And if you're not getting that maximum out of them, then you're not coaching them right. I think that's key here, David. You have to accept that you're failing that person. So here's how I would start, is having that conversation with that person. Not while they're working, not, hey, I want to talk to you Friday at 4 p.m. and set aside a half hour, or Friday at 4:30 p.m. for a half hour. Boom. You have that time set up. Let them think about what's going on for a day or two or whatever it is. And then sit down and talk to them and say, how's work? How do you feel about how you're doing here? Let them evaluate their own performance. Maybe they think they're doing great. And if they do, that's your fault. Because you should be communicating. You should be coaching people, right? This isn't like, imagine people have children and they just leave them there and complain about them all day. You have to, hey, here's what I'm expecting out of you. Here's the time that I want you to be, like, let's say in the example of a child, right? With my children, they have things that they have to do. One of my kids is responsible for the dishes. They have to be done every single night. If not, there's consequences, right? Okay, you did that. The next week, you're not going out because you told me that you're going to do it by X time every single night. You didn't do it. Great, you're doing it. Then here's the rewards, right? I pay you for it. I pay my son $30 a week for washing the dishes every night, 7 days a week. But you can't miss one. You miss one, and then there's no pay. So things like that. So let's apply that to our employees. We can't sit back and watch and say, gee, I don't know why they don't do this. I don't know why. Have you talked to them? Have you coached them? Are you talking to them multiple times a week about their performance and what's going on? Now, you do that. You say, okay, well, here's where I think you're at. And here's what I know your potential is. So let's start shooting for this, this, and this, and address all of the things that are bothering you. I think that's the way to success. Now, you do that over and over and over, and you give them 3 chances. They're probably not the right person. Let them go. Go find someone else. They're probably not happy if they see they're underperforming. But you've had the person. I always ask this with companies that I coach. I say, what's that person do? Are you happy with them? We go through that whole process, and then they say, no, they're not really great. Would you hire them again today? No, I definitely wouldn't hire them. When did you know they were bad? Well, I knew it 5 months ago, a year ago. One person told me, on a $100,000 employee, told me, I've known they were bad for 5 years. Then what in the world are you still having them here for? That person's not happy. They know they're underperforming. You're not happy. You're feeling like you're getting ripped off. There's so much tension in that workplace. That example I just gave about the $100,000 employee, that was a a Wednesday afternoon that I visited a company. On Friday, they let that person go. And on Monday, I called the owner and said, how are things? And they said, we're not missing a beat. That person was doing nothing, making $100,000 a year. And it went on for 5 years. No one was happy in that relationship. Even the employee getting paid the $100,000 to do nothing. They felt like they were just trying to hide all day and look busy. So imagine that. All right, next question from Eric Blandino. What are ways to have our team members reprimanded when they are not doing what is expected of them without them feeling like they are threatened with their position? We are in the business of giving people their homes back from the invasion of rats. We have daily huddles, and I bring up information and concerns that will help our techs and give written copies as well. I have let them know what is expected of them, and I have done write-ups too. The problem is I find myself going in circles at times with the same issues being brought up. Our standard is 3 write-ups, and your future is free. Meaning, Eric lets them go after 3 write-ups. I hope you're sticking to that, Eric. If that's your policy, you cannot break it. Right? So, as I've done in the past previous, and I just did it a minute ago, employees and bringing up children are the same. Obviously, employees are adults and they get a higher level of respect and that sort of thing. But I equate those two a lot because I'm a parent and I'm a business owner. You can't not follow the deadline that you gave, right? It's same with leadership, right? If you're the president of the United States and you tell a country, if you cross this line, we will attack you. You cannot go back on that. The moment they cross that line, attack the hell out of them and show everybody that you're serious. That's how I believe in defense. But that's also how I believe in business and in family and everything. You set the rule and you don't break that rule. That's the way you send a message. And other employees will say, wow, they don't play around here. And they're fair. They're just. They set the rule. It was 3 times. A person failed to do it, and they let them go. And you got to properly document it and do that right. And you should talk to an attorney to make sure you're doing it right, especially because Eric is in California, which is not going to be on your side, Eric, when you let people go. So the part about you're going in circles, then, Eric, I know a lot of the things I say are hard to swallow, but I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to help you. That's your fault. If it's going in circles and you're doing something wrong, you're not communicating it. Otherwise, I don't know, what's the alternative? You just hire deaf people and they don't hear you, or you're hiring dumb people that just can't figure it out? Well, then that's your fault too, because you got to hire the right people. So hire the right people, coach them the right way, hold them accountable. But the main thing in there is, well, they're all important, but coach them. Tell them, hey, pull them aside. It's not just a huddle and you gave away a piece of paper, so what? Nobody looks at your paper. You got to pull them aside and say, hey, I think you're great. I think you have potential. I think when you do this, this, and this, it's fantastic. But here's some things that I really want you to work on. And I'm going to follow up with you next week to make sure you've been doing that. Boom. You just set them in a new path and you're guiding them better. And you keep doing that for a while. If they're still not getting it, write them up 3 times and get them out of here. I recommend reading the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. That book years ago helped me become a better manager, a better owner, because I was able to have better conversations with people and get to their level and understand where they're coming from, and then help them grow and improve. But keep in mind, why aren't they doing it? When you talk to them, hey, I want to understand this. You know that we have this thing, right? And you're not doing it. So I want to understand from you. Is there a problem? Explain it to me. And maybe they raise a fantastic point that you never considered, right? So give them a chance in that regard. All right, next question is from Brad Coleman. Do you have an experience share on crowdfunding to initiate pre-sales of product or initial product launch? If not, as an entrepreneur, what would you do to learn about it? I have a new apparel brand called Carbon Thread, and I have some initial inventory, approximately $80,000 worth, that I currently sell at auto expos and meetups. I was thinking to try crowdfunding and wondering if that would be a good option and looking for ideas or experience share on it. First of all, Brad, that is a lot of money. Coincidentally, my first brand that I started, I ordered $80,000 as well, but I had half of it sold before I did that. I was already in the business of apparel back then, and I had clients who were buying brands from me, and I told them, really good clients, really good relationships, and I said, hey, I'm thinking of starting a brand, and here's what it's going to look like, here's what the pricing is going to look like. What do you think? Are you interested in buying? Will you pick that up from me? And it's going to be owned by me, not these other brands that I'm a rep for. Would you buy from me? And I had one after another say yes, and then we put together, samples, and I started getting orders. So yeah, by the time that inventory hit, I was filling orders for stores and selling thousands of pieces, because the important thing about money is that you have to turn it really fast. If I give you $10,000 and you take a year to make those 10,000 double, that's a long time. But if in that year you can take those 10,000, do that 5 times, you got $50,000 with the same 10,000 that you started with. So what's done is done. You've got 80,000. That's a lot. And you are wondering about crowdfunding. Here's one way. Let's say you don't know anybody who's ever done crowdfunding. Well, in that case, I would go to all those crowdfunding websites and reach out to all those companies. Look them up, see what their email is, look them up on LinkedIn, and contact them. Ask, say, I love your brand. If you do, be honest. Here's what I've seen. Here's what I like about it. Whatever. Talk about that. Praise them so you catch their attention, and then ask them. I'd love to talk to you about crowdfunding because I own this brand and I'm thinking of doing it. I wonder if I could take 15 minutes of your time just for a phone call to pick your brain. Maybe 5% will respond. So to get 5, you got to email 100 of them, right? And reach out, social media, repeat it, LinkedIn, copy paste, social media, hit them up on every single thing if you're really interested in talking to them, and you will get people write you back. I've gotten amazingly successful big company founders to contact me back just because of the way that I have reached out to them. So I think that's a really good way to find out from them, people who've done the crowdfunding, who can tell you the ins and outs. Be careful with this. I'd rather use this other platform, and that's the best way to go about it, I think. That's how I do it. Next question is from AJ Couts. How do you wake up earlier consistently? I struggle immensely with consistently waking up early. I'll do great at it for 30 to 60 days and absolutely fall off the next 30 to 60 days. I've read a lot of books on it and implemented different systems, but none of them have helped me truly be successful at this long term. So AJ, you may know that I've been mentored and been in contact with Jocko Willink, former Navy SEAL, who's phenomenal, and he's famous on Instagram for, he puts a picture of his watch every morning. He wakes up like at 4:30 and he grinds and he works out really hard. Then he handles all the companies he owns, and then he does jiu-jitsu and and he has a podcast and all of this amazing stuff. But see, guess what? He's built different, because I asked him, sitting in his podcast studio a year ago, I asked him, how do you do it? Do you take naps during the day, or do you go to bed really early? How are you getting up every day at 4:30, 7 days a week for years without fail and working out like that? And he said, no, I sleep 4 hours a night. That's all I need. That's different. We're not all the same person. I need like 6 to 7, 8 would be amazing. I never get that. But so I've come to the realization that I am not waking up that early. I'm not doing it. For what? To suffer, to be frustrated. What if you are wired differently, where number one, you need more sleep, and number two, maybe your rhythm, your clock is a little later than waking up at 4:30. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I don't think it's good to, well, other people do it, so yeah, I'm going to try to do that. Find what works for you. I don't know that you have to wake up that early. Maybe you're just a later person. I used to wake up early with an alarm clock. Now I rarely wake up with an alarm, and I feel fantastic. I wake up at 6:45, sometimes 7:15, whatever, and I'm happy with it. I've come to grips with it, as long as it works for you. And then obviously, if you want to go to bed, try getting to bed a little earlier. I don't know, take magnesium. It's not, ask your doctor, but it's natural. It's over the counter. It's not a prescription. And in the evening, it does really help you wind down, loosens the muscles, and helps you sleep a little better. So if you do that early, maybe you'll start falling asleep a little earlier to wake up earlier. And if you really wanted to go after this, I'd question, what are you doing at night? Are you watching TV? There's a blue light, and that tells your brain that it's daytime. It wires you for hours to come. Or are you drinking like a calm tea or sleepy time? Are you turning down lights? Are you off your phone, even if it has a blue light filter? Are you off your TV? Those are things that can help you go to bed a little earlier. All right, but I'm sure you know all that already. The issue is usually executing on it. All right, another question from AJ Couts. What's your advice for maximizing results of a new fitness challenge? I'll be starting a 75-day program shortly and want to get the maximum benefit from it for my personal development. What's your advice? P.S. I failed it once before. What are things you do to stick with things? So AJ, I am not a fit in the box type of person. So I've never done 75-day programs, like 75 hard, for one reason. I work out almost every day, and all the requirements in 75 hard, just to use that one as an example, are simple for me. Don't drink, don't smoke, I don't do any of those things. Work out twice a day, read a book, 10 pages a day, or whatever all those requirements are. First of all, just the fact that it's a program and it's someone else's, I'm not interested in doing it personally for me because I like doing my own thing. The other one is you can't take a day off. And sometimes I work out 3 times in a day, and it may be 6 hours. I might do a 2-hour workout, then another hour, and then another one, and at the end of the day, I've worked out 6. I might take the next day off. And 75 hard says, no, you got to do 2 workouts a day. That's not for me then. I do my own thing. So I don't know, again, that you want to restrict yourself to someone's thing. Make up your own. But if you really want to do it, then do little things like share it with everyone. Put it on social media every single day. I'm on day 1. Here's what I'm doing. I'm on day 2. I did it. Here's what I'm doing. And have that as accountability. Also, have a coach. Coaches are very good at keeping people accountable, but more importantly, hopefully you learn how to be your best accountability partner in the world. I have the best accountability partner in the world. It's me. I hold myself to such a high standard, and I don't let myself break my rules. So, if you can learn that, I think you'll have mastered something for life, whatever that next thing may be. Last person, spoke to them on the phone a week or 2 ago. Sean Thomas introduced us. And I hope I pronounce it right because it sounds like a Hawaiian name, and she lives in Hawaii. Kuuipo. Kuuipo. Last name Pereira. That one's easy, the last name. As a new apparel and accessory company, do I need inventory before beginning to sell wholesale to retailers who I want to carry my product? I started selling surf shorts and bikinis and wanted to know if I should have product on hand before I ask retailers to sell my items in their store, or if I should get their commitment first, then place bulk orders with manufacturers. So what you want to do is, I think, you don't have to have all this inventory ahead of time. You could take orders, and you could reach out to stores, show them the samples, and say, we're now taking orders for the fall collection. And you do this months in advance, and you start getting orders. And from that, you can place your order. You can even require a deposit just to make sure they're committed and they're going to keep the order and not cancel it, and that sort of thing. Also, you'll need inventory for your e-commerce website if you're going direct to consumer. I just wouldn't go crazy building up all this inventory that's a tough position to go from, and you're going to look desperate trying to sell to stores. So you could have a small sampling and show it to people and take orders. Something I recommend, I know you're in Hawaii, so it may be limited, you're not on the mainland with a lot of access to a lot of things, but I'm sure you guys have, I hope, trade shows for clothing where only stores go to these, right? They're the ones walking, and the booths are the brands. You learn so much at these because you get to see how everyone works. And oftentimes they'll say, this collection is available today for immediate delivery. This is for spring, this is for fall, and this is for winter. And they don't have that stuff. They'll say this ships on, February 1st for spring. This ships on August 1st for fall. And that's when you have it. And then you'll obviously keep more on hand to refill those orders if that's how you're going to do it. Or if they're just small collections one time, that's it. That's a different model. So yeah, don't go crazy on sticking all your money into inventory because it's going to sit in boxes, and then what do you do with that, right? That's a very stressful position to be in. All right, everyone. Again, I'm Joel Gandara. I'm here today at, it says Love Street there. This is the area for them, but this is Priority Fulfillment, my e-commerce fulfillment center. Again, if ever anybody wants to talk about e-commerce or fulfillment, shipping, logistics, that sort of thing, that's one of the things I'm pretty good at. All right, thanks for joining me. I hope you all have a great day.